Millennia ago, before time itself began, lived an ancient civilization who had traveled to Earth from a far distant realm. Settling above the surface, the mysterious creatures soon realized that the atmosphere was killing them off, decimating their life expectancy from centuries to just a few mere decades. Escaping the harsh environment, the creatures sought shelter deep underground. Safe in their new haven, the ancient race created a new world with technology far surpassing the humans stumbling around above. Join me as we travel right down the rabbit hole and into the kingdom of Agartha. The concept of an underground world beneath our own is not a new one. The idea pops up again and again through history, folklore, and religion across the world. According to Tibetan Buddhism, there is a hidden, mystical city called Shambhala that has been sought after by many, including Russian mystic Nicholas Roerich. But no one is known to have located it. Some people think that Shambhala is located within Agartha, acting as the capital city. There are tunnels and underground portals to extraterrestrial planets in Hindu and Celtic lore, which some think had an early link thanks to a lost, antediluvian metropolis. Some have linked the epic conflict described in the Mahabharata with the Hindu nation of Raivarta, also known as the Abode of the Excellent Ones, which was ruled by an otherworldly race thousands of years earlier. The ancient civilizations from Atlantis, Lemuria, and Mu that perished in battle and catastrophic disasters, pushing them underground to Agartha, are thought by many to share ancestry with this race. Others allude to a second underworld in the Hindu Mahabharata called Patala, which has many resemblances to images of a subterranean planet, even though it is claimed that they are at war with the Agarthans. The Nagas, a species of half-human, half-reptilian creatures who are portrayed with jeweled hoods that light their realm, rule over Patala, the seventh tier of the underworld according to Hindu texts. The Naga are an extremely technologically advanced race, while some reports claim they occasionally kidnap, torture, and kill people. Others say they have a positive influence on what happens on Earth. In science, astrologer Edmund Halley is generally accepted to have been the first to suggest the possibility of the existence of an underground realm. Halley, famous for his work analyzing the orbits of comets, yes, you might have heard of him, proposed in 1692 that the Earth is made up of a number of nested spherical shells that are all rotating in various directions around a central core, with each shell capable of supporting life. Over the following many centuries, Halley's idea of a hollow Earth was continually developed until the numerous spheres hypothesis was abandoned in the 18th century in favor of Leonard Euler's single hollow sphere theory. This theory included a sun 600 miles across that provided heat and light for the advanced civilization that existed there. Sir John Leslie, a Scottish mathematician, later proposed that there were two inner suns, Pluto and Proserpine. In 1818, John Cleves Sims Jr. issued his circular number 1, where he announced to the world that the Earth is hollow. I declare the Earth is hollow and habitable within, containing a number of solid concentric spheres, one within the other, and that it is open at the poles 12 or 16 degrees. I pledge my life in support of this truth and am ready to explore the hollow, if the world will support and aid me in the undertaking. His early conception of the Earth's innards resembled a condensed version of Halley's multi-layered model, with Sims' version featuring large holes, or openings to the realm, at the north and south poles. Up until his death in 1849, Sims continued to push for a funded expedition to the North Pole, where he was sure he would be able to find one of the openings and prove his theory. But, up until now, all we had were theories, mysterious magnetic field readings, and models that wanted to change the world as we know it. There was no proof, until there was. Richard Sharp Shaver, who was born in 1907 in Berwick, Pennsylvania, had an uprooted childhood and occasionally followed a nomadic lifestyle. He is alleged to have made some bizarre allegations concerning telepathy and terrible actions being carried out in caverns below ground. And it is claimed that he was treated for psychological problems in a hospital in Michigan in the 1930s. When Shaver penned a meandering letter to Amazing Stories in 1943, he staked his claim to fame by asserting that he had discovered an antiquated language called Mantong, which could be decoded to disclose a variety of hidden meanings. The letter reads, "Sirs, am sending this in hope you will insert it in an issue to keep from dying with me. It will arouse a lot of discussion. Am sending you the language so that sometime you can have it looked at by someone in the college or a friend who is a student of antique times." The language seems to me to be definite proof of the Atlantean legend. A great number of our English words have come down intact as romantic, science of man patterning by control, trociadero, good one see a bad one. Applied now together, it is an immensely important find, suggesting the god legends have a base in some wise race than modern man. But to understand it takes a good head, as it contains multi-thoughts. Like many puns on the same subject, it is too deep for ordinary man, who thinks it is a mistake. A little study reveals ancient words in English occurring many times. It should be saved and placed in wise hands. I can't. Will you? It really has an immense significance and will perhaps put me right in your thoughts again, if you will really understand this. I need a little encouragement. After reading the letter, the magazine editor responded to Shaver by asking for additional details about this language, and he wrote back a lengthy letter outlining his discovery of Agartha, the subterranean society of horrifying creatures that lived in caves beneath the Earth's surface. In his 31,000-word story, I Remember Lemuria, Shaver describes how an extraterrestrial civilization known as the Elder Race, or the Titans, arrived on Earth more than 12,000 years ago, settled on the continent of Atlantis, and disseminated their culture across the globe. They used telepathy to communicate while building machines and creatures that resembled robots to perform their tasks. These aliens built enormous cities underground, and built a wide network of cities and roads after realizing that the sun's radioactive rays were hazardous to them. Others were left behind when they ultimately decided to leave Earth. Some eventually deteriorated and turned into what Shaver called the Deros, or harmful robots. These are not really robots, but rather beings that are under the influence of evil forces and cause harm to other people. The Deros continually disturb the human race that lives above ground by employing many of the unique machines that were also abandoned. They have flying vehicles, killing beams, and teleportation devices. They have the power to feign dreams or illusions, kidnap people, drag them underground, and subject them to heinous acts. Furthermore, there were a few Teros, good beings, remaining from the vast exodus who worked to oppose the Deros' evil methods. Due to its popularity and ability to sell out the magazine, this narrative almost completely replaced all other forms of content that Amazing Stories would publish. Despite being labeled as science fiction, Shaver would spend the rest of his life claiming that his writings were true accounts of his past in Agartha. And of course, Shaver was just one of a select group chosen to visit the Forbidden Realm. In part 1, we saw how Admiral Byrd visited the underground city, speaking with the Master and learning about the race of the Ariani. But Byrd and Shaver aren't alone. French esoteric philosopher Alexandre Saint-Yves d'Alvedra also claimed to have spent time there, communicating telepathically with the underground species. Writing about his adventures in his 1886 book, Mission de la Inde en Europe, Saint-Yves attempted to tell the readers that when anarchy in our world is replaced by synarchy, all of humanity will have access to the hidden world. If you remember, in part 1, Byrd had been given a similar message by the Master. After finishing his book, Saint-Yves would preface his account on the first page, saying, I have long hesitated before writing these pages, torn between emotions of anxiety, humility, and the complete annihilation of myself. An invincible resolve enabled me to take a stand, certain of the good I would be doing, not only for the noble minds who have supported my earlier works, but for the peoples of the two parts of the world I am addressing in this book. But something happened. Whether from threat or fear, Saint-Yves never published the book, destroying all but 2 copies. After his death in 1909, French occultist Gerard Uncas went on to publish the works. Though many varying accounts throughout the years have been released of people stumbling across the Hidden Kingdom, the exact location of the underground metropolis has been hard to pinpoint. Some suggest that there are many entrances to this hidden land. Most popular are the North and South Poles, Kentucky Mammoth Cave, the monk-guarded Himalayan mountains in Tibet, and of course, the Great Pyramid of Giza, to name a few. With hundreds of possible locations popping up all over the globe, it's quite possible that the mystery of the Hollow Earth and the land of Agartha may soon be solved. And, while I've enjoyed falling down this rabbit hole with you, I must warn you, watch your step.